Welcome to the Naga Chronicles podcast. I'm Srimukh Duvvuri, author of The Serpent Prince. In today's episode, Mucalinda, the Naga who sheltered the Buddha. For 7 episodes, we've lived in Hindu mythology. The Vedas, the Puranas, the Mahabharata. But the Nagas don't stop at the borders of Hinduism. They cross over into Buddhism, into Jainism, into the folk traditions of Southeast Asia. And nowhere is that crossover more beautiful than in the story of Mucalinda. The scene. In the weeks following his enlightenment under the Bodhi tree, the Buddha moved between several nearby sites, spending time in deep meditation at each one. During the 3rd week after his awakening, he was meditating near a lake when a great storm arose. Not a gentle rain, a massive storm, 7 days of relentless downpour, cold wind, and darkness. The Buddha was deep in meditation, still absorbing the enormity of what he had realized. He was vulnerable. He was exposed. This is where Mucalinda appears. Mucalinda is a great Naga king who lives in the lake near where the Buddha was meditating, a place known as Mucalinda Lake. When the storm comes, he rises from the earth, wraps his massive coils around the Buddha's body to keep him warm, and spreads his great hood, some texts say 7 hoods, over the Buddha's head like an umbrella. For 7 days, the Naga shelters the awakened one from the storm. When the rain stops and the skies clear, Mucalinda unwraps himself, transforms into a young man, and bows before the Buddha with joined palms. Why this story matters. The Mucalinda story is one of the most widely depicted scenes in Buddhist art, from ancient Gandhara sculptures to the temple complexes of Angkor Wat. And it carries several layers of meaning. Protection of wisdom. The Buddha has just accessed the highest truth. He's at his most spiritually powerful and his most physically vulnerable. Mucalinda protects the body so the mind can remain free. It's a statement about the relationship between the physical and the spiritual. Enlightenment doesn't make you immune to rain. The natural world recognizes the sacred. The Buddha doesn't ask for help. Mucalinda acts on his own, recognizing the significance of what's happening. In Buddhist tradition, this is a recurring theme: animals, spirits, and nature beings responding to the Buddha's awakening because the truth radiates outward. The Naga senses it and responds with devotion. The Nagas are not obstacles to enlightenment, they are guardians of it. This is a crucial distinction from how serpents function in many Western mythologies. The snake in the Garden of Eden is a tempter. Mucalinda is a protector. The serpent here isn't trying to corrupt the holy man, he's sheltering him. Nagas in Buddhist tradition. Mucalinda isn't the only Naga in Buddhism. The Nagas are woven throughout Buddhist mythology and practice. The Naga kings are considered protectors of the Dharma, guardians of Buddhist teachings and sacred sites. In Thai, Cambodian, Lao, and Burmese Buddhism, Naga imagery is everywhere, on temple staircases, around Buddha statues, and architectural motifs. The multi-headed Naga is one of the most recognizable symbols in Southeast Asian Buddhism. The great Buddhist philosopher Nagarjuna, one of the most important thinkers in Mahayana Buddhism, is said to have received the Prajnaparamita Sutras from the Nagas, who had been guarding these texts in their underwater kingdom until humanity was ready for them. That last point is extraordinary. It means the Nagas aren't just protectors of the Buddha's body, they're custodians of his most advanced teachings. They hold knowledge that even the human world isn't prepared for, and they release it when the time is right. From India to Southeast Asia. When Buddhism spread from India to Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, and Indonesia, the Nagas came along. But they didn't just survive the journey, they thrived. In Cambodia, the entire origin myth of the Khmer people involves a Naga princess marrying an Indian Brahmin. The Khmer civilization, the builders of Angkor Wat, considered themselves descendants of Nagas. In Thailand, the great Naga serpents line the staircases of almost every Buddhist temple. They're called Nak in Thai, and they're considered protectors of sacred space. In Laos and northeastern Thailand, the Mekong River is believed to be the home of Nagas, and every year at the end of Buddhist Lent, during the festival of Wan Ok Pamsa, mysterious fireballs, known as Bung Phai Payanak, Naga fireballs, are said to rise from the river, the Nagas' gift to the sky. The Nagas didn't just cross religious boundaries, they crossed oceans. What Mucalinda means for the Naga Chronicles. Mucalinda represents something I think about a lot. The Naga as guardian. Not warrior, not villain, not rival, guardian. The being who shows up not for glory or revenge, but simply because something sacred needs protecting. In The Serpent Prince, this guardian instinct runs through the Naga characters. The impulse to protect knowledge, to shelter what matters, to wrap yourself around something precious, and hold steady through the storm. Mucalinda doesn't speak in the story. He doesn't announce himself. He just acts. He sees the storm, he sees the Buddha, and he does what needs to be done. Sometimes the most powerful thing a character can do is simply show up and hold the line. Wrapping up the series. This episode concludes our deep dive into the great Nagas of mythology. We've traveled from the cosmic coils of Adishesha to the sacrificial pain of Vasuki, from Takshaka's fury to Kaliya's exile, from Manasa's demand for recognition to Ulupi's quiet power, from Astika's saving word to Mucalinda's silent shelter. The Nagas are one of the richest, most complex mythological traditions in the world. They're not just snakes, they're kings and queens, guardians and destroyers, lovers and refugees. They hold up the earth, and they poison the river. They demand worship, and they offer shelter. That's what drew me to them. That's what The Serpent Prince is built on. And I hope this series has given you a deeper sense of the mythology behind the fiction. Thank you for listening to the Naga Chronicles. Thanks for listening to the Naga Chronicles podcast. Follow me on Instagram at Srimukh Duvvuri and check out The Serpent Prince, a YA fantasy based on Hindu mythology.